Hey everybody, thanks for watching All Day Live. And as I bring up the screen and look in the background here, right there, this is All Day Live and WillPWilson, and we're going to be talking about the strain of the month, especially about Mathew Gordon, Old-Toby-Strain-Creator, which is becoming quite the noted strain breeder, backbreeder, I don't know what kind of everything, lots of all. We're learning. So this is partly what we're all trying to do. We're learning as we're learning. We all learn. You have some learning things, all day live, we're from Seattle, we're broadcasting, streaming online, and archived as well. So, and now Mathew Gordon. And Mathew, it's really good to see you. My gosh, look at you, there you are.
Yeah, I'm really glad and honored to be invited on the show. I haven't had gas money really to make it over here for months.
Yeah.
But you gotta pay the ferry.
Yeah.
We also have Gizmo here. Gizmo, good to see you also. And David Henerson, we've also got you here as well.
Hello.
David, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, everybody. And so, in the meantime, Mathew, give us some input. What's been happening in the last so much of what it is in strains? I mean, straining the strains? I mean, like, what's involved?
People are having difficulty and have had every good strain, every great strain that everybody's had in the last 30 years seems to be gone. And they're finding out like 1 to 2 generations from seed, and the plants are 15 to 30% chemically, the chemical composition of the plants 15 to 30% altered within 1 to 2 generations from seed, or 4 to 5 generations from clone. And so with standard breeding techniques, the strains drift away, and you'll find that your favorite Girl Scout cookies, if you clone it too many times, maybe won't retain all of its uniqueness that you fell in love with the strain in the first place. But my single trait enhancement, it seems to be maintaining the medical usefulness and the and at least with the individual trait, it seems to be. I'm on the 24th generation from seed, so and it's the most effective ever. So I'm teaming up with 420 Ideal 420 Soil Technologies. They were in High Times this month. I'm going to partner up with them on a research and development grow. There we go. And Ideal 420. And yeah, I'm pretty excited. It's the first Just Add Water cannabis soil, but they have their soil composition is down exacting to parts per million. And phenotyping of the plant, it's half genetics, half environment. And so with their soil sciences and my genetic process, with a research and development project in Colorado, we're going to be creating the new medical strains.
Interesting.
So
yeah, and then Etienne, tell us a little bit. You just got your degree in agriculture, right?
Yeah, that's correct. From WSU, I was studying agriculture, technology, and business management, but I was more focused on the organic component of things. And with the recent legalization and the ongoing medical community, it was great to graduate just this last summer and get involved with like the community, come back to my roots on this side of the state, and team up with Matt and the Old-Toby-Strain and really see what we can do. It's really it's amazing. Yeah, it's a cool thing.
Right on. Congratulations with your degree, and
thank you.
Yeah, and putting it to good use too. It sounds like.
Yeah.
I like that. So, DH, you've been on the campaign to legalize and stuff in cannabis. You've seen a lot of changes. What do you think's going on?
I think there's a lot of restrictive talk and restrictive use going on that's in the public eye, and so people are like, well, it's legal. Well, it's legal, but it has restrictions. So people are not respecting people in the public eye. So in a lot of cases, people really need to tighten up their usage and make sure that people aren't being disrespected.
You're talking about people that smoke out in the public, or
In city parks especially.
Uh-huh. So people should be a little bit more respectful around kids, maybe,
Well,
or
especially there.
at bus stops and stuff like that. I can see that.
You know, any time of day that area is going to have people walking through with kids. So,
Uh-huh.
you know, their usage is
Or maybe the mayor
outside of-
should set
outside.
aside a park for
Oh.
people to.
we already did that.
They got one for
days a year. We did that for 3 days a year. That's already killed like that.
All right. So Matt, more about Old Toby. What's the future with Old Toby? What's going on? You got 420 soil. And
I'm really excited because my 15 plants that my caregiver are getting ready to be harvested within the next couple of weeks, and I've gotten some little trimmings, little lower popcorn trimmings. I had an old plant die that was really small, and I got about a quarter ounce. But anyway, I'm really happy because I've got my medication, so I'm back, and my memory's restored, and I'm functioning fully again as long as I can keep medicating on the Old-Toby strain. And this month's High Times magazine December issue has got Dawn-Darington answered a question in here, if you get the magazine.
Hold it up.
Yeah,
So we can see
it's the December issue, the top 10 strains,
Okay.
and Bobby Black has a great article about is it Bobby and Dab? It's like at the Dab Factory, Bobby Black at the Dab Factory, and Danny Danko's top 10 strains of the year is amazing. But there's a question that talks about Old Toby on page 102. And if you get the magazine, every single one that I've seen on the shelves, it's got the subscription flyer actually in the page.
Let's see your
102.
article. Can you open up
Yeah,
your article?
Yeah, it's
Or
it's
what's
right
the
here.
question?
It's kind of
Oh,
very
it's not. We're
complimentary.
not. We're getting blurred. So
Impressed.
but anyway,
Can you
Wait.
sum up what the question's about, or can
Yeah,
you
it's really
answer the
short.
question?
Well, the question, I'm a medical marijuana patient in Washington. I'm hearing great things about Old Toby. Any idea where I can get my hands on seeds and clones? And Danny says, Old Toby's a strain developed specifically for medical use by Mathew Gordon, a medical patient himself. Swears by his properties, including reversing short-term memory loss and treating serious illnesses. He's been working with a variety for years, backcrossing it for the specific purpose of retaining its medicinal properties.
All right.
So that's
Yeah.
it, and it's available at Choice Wellness Center on Aurora Avenue. choicewellness.com.
Wow, they got.
And they're taking requests from growers and patients who want to experiment and discover more about this unique and healing strain. And at this time, they're growing some,
Oh.
and they're going to have. It's going to be processed into some medicinal form, hopefully transdermal patches. We don't know yet, but it will be in it's not going to be bud form, no flowers. It's going to be in either a transdermal patch or.
So this is the way of the future, huh? Maybe,
Yeah,
huh?
there's not. It eventually. My hope is for it to be a lotion, the transdermal patch to be put. Like if you have breast cancer, put the patch right there. If you got a tumor on your arm, put the patch right there. It's going to be inhalant for lung cancer, just like.
And what
if you
about
have
how
asthma.
about eye drops for
If
glaucoma?
if we can do eye drops, it'll be suppositories. It might be a breath strip or a cough drop.
How about ear drops for
cough drop
earaches?
sounds
It
Yeah,
could be
cough
ear
drops,
but
you know?
it's
Cough
not
drop is
going to
just
be.
the way I
It's
think.
not going to be hash oil and dabs and buds and joints and bongs
Right.
or anything associated with cannabis. It's going to be medical and dosed and specifically made cleanly in a laboratory. It's and for specific ailments. The Old Toby strain has hungry, tired, confused, and paranoid completely bred out. So it's anti-anxiety, it's appetite suppressant, it's antidepressant, it's anti-inflammatory mainly, and memory restorative. So it's not your typical cannabis,
What- you
which
see,
is also medicinally useful. But
what I think is
you
kind
can't
of
get
unique
Old-Toby.
is that Old Toby seems to have, or specializes in some of your personal needs.
Yes.
Like it's like genetically bonded to you and has
Yes.
made itself more perfect for your needs.
Because I'm the one that selected the mother plants that got to live and got to procreate per generation on a self-seeded line. So, I mean, I picked the ones that I liked better, basically, which was, I was just looking for short-term memory restoration.
But I'm curious if it's, maybe some of, your psychic aura type energy.
Nonverbal
or,
communication,
or
music,
talking to
play,
them, maybe
talking to them.
accidental hair that drops into the soil, maybe it blends with your DNA, who knows,
Exhaling onto the plant.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My roommate did that once. I thought it would kill you. He blew some cigarette smoke onto him. I'm like,
Oh.
hell no, I wasn't crazy.
I bet if you did that enough, it would alter the plant, though. If you
It
had
would.
a smoked
It
environment.
would.
Actually, I don't think
And
spider mites
not a
like
good
tobacco
thing,
smoke.
though.
Yeah, I don't think
That's not a good thing, though.
No.
They're on my list of being
Because
terrorists, by the way,
it would
spider
produce some
mites.
sort of anti-bribe to nicotine, like yuck.
Well, basically, right now, I guess to sum up the thing with the Old-Toby is, within the next couple of weeks, we're going to get extensive lab tests done and medical research, and prove the unique medical usefulness of the
So-
strain for certain ailments.
So your Old Toby bud is going to be bona fide.
Yeah,
All right.
and
Seal.
Yeah.
yeah, but if somebody says they have Old-Toby cannabis, they're lying. I'm the only person right now that has any, and I'm going to make it into patches. All of it for personal use. All my 24 ounces of medical 60-day supply, I'm making into patches for myself. Sorry. So if
bullshit.
the people that make the patches come to Washington and follow the laws and are able to make concentrates, and everything goes like it's supposed to with the laws of Washington, Dawn's Old-Toby will be made into patches, and I will examine it, and I will inspect it, and I will certify it authentic, and there will be a seal on there, inspected by Mathew Gordon, and a website you can go to with a serial number.
Now, is there going to be a green seal or?
Yeah, maybe rainbow colored if Dawn has anything to do. I'm just kidding. But green, rainbow,
Gold?
Hey.
Gold seal.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a gold foil. It's made by 3M, the seals.
Oh,
They're
there you
30
go.
cents each. They're going to cost me $3. I mean, no, I'm just kidding. No, everything's up and up,
Well, I'm really glad to hear that Old Toby's, really made a good proof so far, and it's going to be proven even more now. And
No, because more
and-
people have actually seen hobbits and elves than have actually seen Old-Toby, because it's been 15 months. I only got 13 ounces. There was about 18 grams on a couple small experimental plants. I've been involved in a whole nother breeding project. I've got 8 more strains that I've got clones of that are coming out within 2 weeks that I've been working on for over a year.
No seeds got out, no how?
No, and I really don't care because this strain's chemical composition is so finely tuned. Its cannabinoid profile, if you will. It's not just that, but it's so finely balanced that somebody else growing it even me, if I grew it in the exact same environment that it's in right now for 4 generations from a clone of a clone, it'd drift and be no more CB2 activating memory restorative. In fact, we know that it's activating CB2s, and that's what, in the next 2 weeks, it's going to be proven. It's going to be all over the world news. I'm going to get millions of dollars in grant money. I mean, so I'm not trying to grow plants and have mass bud or whatever. There are companies and people in Colorado that do that, that legally are growing 1,000 pounds or more and selling it every month. And I'm going to contract them to grow the Old-Toby.
All right.
But me personally, the little bit of my personal use is going to be tested and proven to be activating CB2s. A lady with very bad hearing damage tonight, right before I came here, a medical patient got to try 2 hits, and her hearing was noticeably improved,
Wow.
possibly up to 30% improved
Wow.
in 1 minute after taking 2 hits. no other strain does that. She's tried pot before. Okay, it didn't make her hearing 30% better. She literally took their hearing aid off, and her son was talking to her, and with the brain damage that she'd suffered, it's just annoying scratching fingers on the chalkboard sound, and that was gone. And it was markedly improved. She's never had that, but she's tried all kinds of medical cannabis. It doesn't make you hear better. It just doesn't, but this does. So that's CB2s. They're ears, eyes, hippocampus, which is my short-term memory, which, look at me. Do I suffer from 87% short-term memory loss right now? Ask me a question. Test me right now, you know. I've got a perfect memory because I just medicated on the Old-Toby-Strain. So if it's making the light brighter in the room and people's vision better and their hearing better and my memory better, people's edema as their legs shrink, if it's that anti-inflammatory, and nobody's complained about, I feel stoned, I feel like I'm paranoid or tired or have the munchies or confused, none of that, no one's ever said that. So this is really good, this is huge.
Yeah.
Really glad that I got to be part of this.
Well, you know, Halloween's coming up here, and hopefully November, there's a lot of rumors medical might be starting to be phased out. Hopefully that doesn't happen, and I'm sure there'll be quite a fight put up if the Washington State Liquor Control Board tries to be the monopoly of the whole thing and send their henchmen out. But let's, you know, be prepared and, you know, keep an eye out and mind your P's and Q's. And
Matthew, real quick, this is Will, and I was just going to ask you really quick, if the whole industry's changing, and you've been basically working on legal as far as medical, but commercial, where's Old-Toby going to fit in with commercial? I mean, how's that going to happen? I mean, we need to find out. You're going to have to keep us up to speed on that one.
You know, I've got to tell you, If I have control over where the strain goes, I want it to be medical use, and not in your standard. I don't want buds and dabs and hash and oils and bongs and joints at all. I want the patch, the inhaler, you know, suppositories, drops, you know, the real medicine made from it, and I think that's the future of all the cannabis. Medical, so they're going to do single trade enhancements. One's just going to make you hungry. One's just going to make you tired. They're going to have you put the patch on, you go to bed, even if you're an insomniac. No other medicine helps. If you have eating disorders, you put that sucker on, and you can eat. And the Old-Toby will be the anti-inflammatory, and then a myriad of other strains, single trade enhancements are possible. Maybe
so.
The
There's going to be
for
patches
cancer.
too. You're working on a patch.
Yeah, there's going to be the transdermal patch, and there's going to be an inhaler, and maybe eye drops and suppositories, maybe a breath strip on your tongue. But no, whatever the most effective, medically effective preparation and delivery system we find, that's what we're going to. And it's not going to be associated with buds and dabs. I'm going to have bud. I'm going to have Old-Toby buds.
Well, we all know it's a lot
healthier. And everything else.
It's a lot healthier.
I don't really want anyone else in the world to have it unless they come visit me.
It's a lot healthier not to smoke. I would like to.
I hate to say that.
I would like to be able to smoke less when I consume cannabis. You know. I'm open to new ways of.
Well, think about the asthma inhaler. The cannabis
That's
asthma
very
inhaler.
necessary.
I mean, it might be
That's very
$1,000 or
necessary with a
something
lot of
for it, but
people.
it's got 200 quarter-gram dabs in it.
Well,
And you squeeze it, and it knocks your microphone out. I mean, that's how high you get.
Well, it's kind of crazy to think, though. It's like a friend of mine just came back from Mexico, and he uses a non-narcotic or medicated inhaler, but the same ones that cost you like $40 or $50 up here in America, that luckily my medical pays, but down in Mexico, the same one's $5.
I'm going to have to go to Mexico and buy
So like it
Old-Toby
makes you wonder,
inhalers.
you know, here's all these pharmaceutical
Once we get
companies.
going, probably.
So hopefully when these products come out, they'll be somewhat more reasonable and affordable by the common consumer, you know, and medical patient versus maybe just the top, you know, echelon of
The
them.
Old-Toby, if I have anything to say, but it will always be on a sliding scale, and it would be for qualifying patients. It'd be special if there's right now, and there's always going to be at the beginning a limited supply. So the worst Alzheimer's cases, the worst arthritis cases,
That's good.
the people with the worst anxiety and panic attacks, and MS, and lupus, and edema. I mean, there's so many people. 100,000 people get at least one of their legs partially amputated every year in the U.S. alone from edema. Those people get the Toby first, and you know what I mean, to save lives. So there's if the dispensaries that are gonna have it, eventually, it's gonna have to be qualifying patients and at a sliding scale. So, I mean, if I could afford $40 a gram, I'll pay $40 a gram for it because it's worth it to have 1 gram. I've got 4 days of perfect memory, and that's just smoking it, which is way inefficient. But, I mean, for me, I'll pay anything because it gives me my life back. But I make $740 a month on Social Security. So, but it's going to be at a sliding scale, and the worst patients first.
By the way,
ones in
you guys, we've got 2 minutes left, and I hope everybody's enjoyed the show listening to you, Matthew. Hope to get some more from you because you're on there. I've already been on the show many times. But one last minute. Give us the last tip.
Last tip. Oh my gosh. I would say keep your eyes peeled if you didn't believe in me or my theories or Old-Toby in the past. Keep your eyes peeled to the mainstream media, because once I get the medical testing done in the next 2 weeks, what's the date today? Say the 10th?
Yep.
So by after Halloween, right around Halloween of 2013, as soon as I get these tests proving that it's activating CB2 receptors and the medical usefulness of the strain, then we'll move forward. There's going to be grant money, there's going to be laws going to be changed, it's going to be off Schedule 1. Federally legalized. Everything's going to change.
Etienne, real quick, give us your last statement. What do you want the world to know about? Real quick.
Yeah, I would say when it comes to cultivation, I would just always advise going organically. It's the best thing for you. It's the best thing for the planet and the environment and things around you. And local and sustainable is the way to go, and that is across the board with agriculture. And with cannabis, it's equally important as well.
Thanks. And they can get a hold of you. You got your information here. Your email's sitting right there.
Yeah.
Right there. Man, they should get a hold of you for that. You just got your degree in agriculture as well. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Gizmo, real quick, I got about a minute left. Go ahead.
Just remember, fight for your rights to home grow, and plant your seeds regardless. Spring's coming up. Get an early start. Make sure you grow enough food and everything else you need. And matter of fact, the barter fair is coming up soon here in Tionasket. That's where I'm going, and have a good time up there. And everybody be safe, be prepared, and have fun.
David, give us your input real quick. What do you want the world to know real fast, David? It's great to have you here. Love you.
Thanks.
Really.
Thanks.
It is good to see you. Thanks for being the advocate that you are. Really are. Guys, I appreciate everything. Matthew, I appreciate you being here today. And that's your contact information. They can get a hold of you at Mathew Gordon at 420.com. I think that's right there.
At Gmail. Yeah, Mathew Gordon 420 at Gmail.
Yeah.
Only Radio Shack and Best Buy get emails all day long, and 1 or 2 close friends,
Right.
that's it.
Anyway, you guys, thank you very much for being here. And this
Happy
is the
Halloween.
AllDayLive show, and we'll see you next week. Thank you very much, WillPWilson. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you.
Yay.
Hope we can give our more information, get back to all of us, okay? All of us.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week. All right.
A new report from Trust for America's Health indicates that more people in America die from prescription pill overdoses as opposed to heroin and cocaine combined, which is fascinating. Now, we knew that prescription drug abuse is a big problem in the country, but we didn't know to what extent until this report came out and gave us some specific numbers. So this has become an increasing issue since 1999, and let me give you some of those numbers so you can know exactly what I'm talking about. So deaths involving prescription pills have actually quadrupled since 1999. So
That's
they
amazing.
looked at 1999 through 2010, and that's what they noticed. Some more findings of the study also indicate that about 6.1 million people abuse prescription pills, and overdose deaths have at least doubled in 29 states, where they now exceed vehicle-related deaths. In 10
Amazing.
I know. In 10 of those states, the rates have actually tripled. In 4 of them, quadrupled. So it's a serious problem.
The fact that it has exceeded vehicle deaths is unbelievable. I literally had to read it 3 times. I couldn't believe it, right? So this is an out-of-control problem. But luckily, you see the government is constantly running those ads, say no to prescription drugs, right? This is your brain on prescription drugs. I mean, they're running those all the time, right?
All the time.
I mean, there's a lot of fear-mongering going around about prescription pills, right?
In fact, there are more people getting locked away for prescription drug abuse as
Yes.
opposed to marijuana abuse. So at least, you know, the authorities are focusing on the real issue here. Now,
Yeah.
you guys know that that's not the truth.
No, wait a minute. Didn't they lock up Rush Limbaugh after he was a massive OxyContin abuser and had violated the law and getting different prescriptions he wasn't supposed to get? I mean, they threw the book at him, right?
Jake, he needed rehabilitation.
Oh,
okay, he wasn't
I
one
see.
of these
Right.
junkies that does, you know, those illegal drugs that pharmaceutical companies can't really make a lot of money off of right now.
Yeah.
But they're working on it, especially when it comes to marijuana. By the way, just to let you guys know how much this is costing you specifically, the federal government spends about $54.4 billion a year on prescription pill-related abuse. So the number of people that get extremely sick because of their overdose, or people who die as a result of their overdose. This is costing us money, and it doesn't make any sense. Just because it's legal and you just need a prescription for it doesn't mean that it isn't harmful. I hate the propaganda that's out there. And that's not to say that, hey, this means that heroin is safer than prescription pills. We're not trying to say that at all. We're just trying to say that it's ridiculous that when pharmaceutical companies are pushing a drug, all of a sudden it seems like it's not that big of a deal. It's not that much of a health risk. It is a health risk.
By the way, the regions of the U.S. that are most affected are the poorest regions and also oftentimes the most Republican regions. West Virginia, that has at least a Democratic senator, okay, but is generally red and has gone red in presidential elections. New Mexico, Kentucky, Nevada, and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Now, look, New Mexico, it turns blue in presidential elections sometimes. Nevada is a little bit purple. But overall, these are generally heavily Republican areas like Oklahoma, Kentucky, et cetera, where they say, you throw away the key, these goddamn druggies, the heroin, the cocaine, the marijuana. Oh, by the way, how many people killed from marijuana? Oh, right, none. None. Interesting, right?
Yeah, no one dies from marijuana.
Right. Now, why don't we have a campaign about, hey, be careful with prescription drugs, and it's really dangerous, and it could kill you. It kills you at a rate that's more than heroin or cocaine, because the drug companies are incredibly powerful. They're not going to let you do a campaign like that. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
These are the guys who basically guaranteed themselves a monopoly. We're not allowed to re-import drugs into the country. They've got 12-year patents on original drugs. They got extended from 5 years to 12 years. The government can't negotiate with them. You think they're going to let the government do education campaigns about, hey, watch out, prescription drugs can kill you? Now, look, again, let's understand, prescription drugs oftentimes are good things. That's why you take them, right? To relieve pain, for other reasons. So it's not all bad at all, right? We understand that. But abusing prescription drugs is a serious, serious problem that is afflicting a huge portion of this country. But we never talk about it, and instead we make, the ones we don't make money off of, those are the terrible ones. The ones we make a lot of money off of, don't worry about those. Those are fine.
Gentlemen, we have called you together to inform you that we are going to overthrow the United States government. still think that jet fuel brought down the World Trade Center? Does anybody else see a problem here? If the government has nothing to hide, why are they so afraid to answer a few questions?
Hi everyone, we're about to start, so anyone who's out there, just letting you know that we're about to start. And
Well, hi, welcome to All Day Live. I'm WillPWilson, the producer of All Day Live, and we cover weekly issues on things that deal with the Northwest communities, the national communities, the world communities, just about communities in general in a sense, but what I try to cover with or focus on are issues that are what I would almost guess are not more than just important, but are key issues that pertain to the people that might want to watch, like you. And again, this is All Day Live. I'm WillPWilson, and we broadcast from the Northwest, from Seattle, and we're on SeattleCommunityMedia.com archives or streaming on a regular schedule during the week, All Day Live, and archived also at archive.org, which apparently is part of the federal documents archive, apparently. A lot we do and things we try to help each other, because I try to normally get people on from our community, from a nationwide community, a worldwide community, to express what they know about what it may mean to be important to you out there watching. I appreciate you watching. And today we have the great honor of Judge-David-Wynn-Miller. Language syntax. Probably one of the most outspoken people on trying to help people understand the meaning of syntax, probably in the world. And so I'm now introducing Judge David-Wynn-Miller. Judge David-Wynn-Miller, it's really good to hear you. And
well, thank you for having me on your show this evening.
Yeah, well, I'm greatly honored. And as a time period right now where I think, are we out of syntax, or is there hope for syntax? I mean, a lot involved.
Worldwide now, we have translated the website into 150 languages. There are over 5 billion, that's with a B, people registered in 14 years on the website that have been studying the parsing, syntax, grammar, and the respected languages and how they interface with the false and misleading statements of the government, and the way they've been using the dumbing down the entire planet to a second-grade reading level so they could be harvested when they leave this planet and walk into a foreign vessel in dry dock called the district court, county court, state court, city court, federal court, it doesn't matter, or the United States Supreme Court. Each time these people are walking into a closed area building, it's controlled by the port authorities of that respected state. The port authorities are controlled by the Department of Transportation, which is controlled by the post office. The post office controls all 3,800 branches of government, including the Treasury. So as a citizen, we are all vessels, and vessels are registered through driver's licenses and passports and treaties with the United States of America Corporation, which was formed on the 2nd of February 2000. The United States of America ended on November 2nd, 1999 as a democracy and now became a corporate structure where all people who carry money in their pocket are postal employees because all money is controlled by the post office. So where people are using their, I'm going to check out, or use an international driver's license or some international document that's written in adverb verb, and I think that's going to check them out of fiction using fiction, we're badly mistaken. So the only thing you've got left on the planet is you've got two conditions of state. You've got an adverb verb and adverb adjective pronoun. So a pronoun adverb verb, fictitious conveyance of parsing, syntax, grammar. Parsing meaning the parts of a word, syntax meaning how two words come together, what the true definition is, and grammar is what a constructive sentence is with one verb, not 7 or 8 verbs like the way the fiction government writes it. So an individual who goes ahead and gets themselves into a situation where they think they're breaking a law needs to first look at what the grammar is. In the entire world, there's only one law that any human of 8.6 billion can sue the government for, and that's Title 18, 1001, if you don't, which is the fictitious conveyance of language. And the second law is the false and misleading statements under Title 15, which deals with contract law, Section 1692E. And those are your two laws that are listed in all 250 passports worldwide. So the people of this planet because of this statement has been made for about 14 years publicly on radio, TV, internet, and on my website, and books that have been published, and lawsuits that have been, 12,000 lawsuits have been filed. The argument has always been the same. We are putting grammar on trial. Now, in the United States, we have 5 different areas of government that we are approaching. One is the Attorney General's office, Eric Holder, for criminal division as a whistleblower under Title 29, Title 31, Section 2937. And what we're doing here is we're being under the Witness Protection Program to give testimony on the fraudulent conveyance of language of the foreclosure industry by the banks, as well as specific criminal cases that come up, which aren't even criminal cases. There are no laws to articulate specific activities of individuals, and they contact me to look at what the district attorney is saying as a law, and it's actually all babble, better known as ART, A-R-T, which is straight lines and curved lines on a piece of paper. So once we syntax what those words mean, they don't actually say anything. So the district attorney's office, the judges, the attorneys, the lawyers, are all babbling to the people who can't read and write with a second grade reading level, and they don't know they're being hoodwinked. They don't know they're being babbled through, because that's the only thing they learn in high school and grade school and college, universities. Even when you think you graduated from college or university, you may have a degree in something of mathematics, engineering, science, computers, in the math or geometry field, but when it comes right down to it, it's the grammar and the English that you're using to convey those mechanical thoughts, which are written in the second grade reading level. So an individual needs to look at what words they're using to articulate the ideas that you're trying to get across. When you write a patent, or you write a copyright, or you write a lawsuit, or you come up with some kind of a new invention and you write it with a second grade reading level, an adverb verb, you haven't said anything about anything, and you are vulnerable to anyone that knows how to syntax to stop and correct your wrongs, to prove that they're criminal under Title 18, 1001, and Title 15, Section 1692E. And by doing so, they can take away your property, take away whatever you're doing. You know, when you go through a foreclosure, you think that you've got a mortgage, there's 64 million mortgages in the United States. You go to the bank and you fill out an application. You give that to a bank. All banks in the United States are servicing agents. They are not allowed to lend their own depositors money. They are not allowed to own property. They are not allowed to own houses or land. They are only a servicing agent. They take that mortgage contract, which has 4,500 mistakes on it, and they walk that into the Treasury window. A man standing or a woman standing at the Treasury window has a second grade reading level and doesn't know he's being or she is being hoodwinked with a false and misleading statement. That individual at the Treasury then hands the servicer, we'll use an example of a check for $500,000. That $500,000 goes back to the bank servicer, and they make a deposit in their own personal name. Then they go ahead and make a fraction of 10 to 1, making $5 million. Under this law called the Title 15, Section 1635A, it's called the Rescissions Act, R-E-S-C-I-S-S-I-O-N, Rescissions Act, which says you must give a 3-day notice, better known as the Lemon Law, to the individual that you're writing this mortgage with. Well, the first day that they get their mortgage, the first day the Treasury gives the mortgage money to the bank turns around on day number 2 and gives it back to the Treasury saying, we're invoking the Rescissions Act, we don't want the money, and cancel the transaction. So there's no legal bond between the Treasury and the bank, but the bank still has $4.5 million that they have just traded in a fraction account. They then go ahead and they take that and they create a note for the $500,000 that you sign a note. But the mortgage was never signed by the bank. All those listening look at your mortgages, they were never signed by the bank. That's not a contract. That's just a piece of paper with straight lines and curved lines called babble. So now that you have, and it might say mortgage on the top, or it might say deed of trust or security deed, the deed is a pronoun because there's no prepositional phrase in front of it. There's an adverb connecting to the pronoun, which means no, no, no. An adverb, EDD, is a modifier, which also means no contract because you're modifying. Then it now modifies, which is change, and change is motion, and motion is action, and action is verb. And the word trust now becomes a verb, which is fiction grammar, or better known as babble. So now you have a document that's not worth the paper it's written on, and the bank creates a note, but the note is written where all the numbers are separated from the dollar sign. Everything is placed into independent boxes, and anything in a box is advertising enclosed area and cannot be considered. All the words written on the note are also written in adverb verb, and they do not form a correct sentence anywhere on the document. So therefore, you have a lot of numbers that don't mean anything because there's no contract to support it. So now you have an unsecured debt. As long as you keep giving your money to the bank just leaves you alone and lets you pay on something that doesn't even exist. Then the bank goes ahead and takes that $4.5 million and invests it in MasterCard between 15 and 32% interest, then makes about $900,000 a year interest off it. The fraud that was perpetrated at the Treasury. Now, we've gone to Eric Holder at the Attorney General's office. We've gone to the Tort Division on Ben Franklin Station in Washington, D.C. We've gone to the Securities and Exchange Commission, and we've gone to the Consumer Fraud Protection Bureau in Iowa City, Iowa, and we've gone to the Postal Inspectors in Chicago. And each one of these departments also have a second-grade reading level, and because they're going like, oh, we can't read quantum language, we have to protect our fraud. Well, in their protection of fraud, they're committing fraud because they're not stopping and correcting under a Title 42, 1986 for false and misleading statements. So therefore, these departments are trying to protect themselves by saying, we don't know what we're doing. We can't read correct grammar. We're too lazy to go back to school and study, or to get up on the website or read the documents that have been filed, which articulate all the mistakes, have all the forensic evidence bonded to the quo warranto complaint, the lis pendens, and the writ of the document, contract, false claims, writ of the false document contract claims that are now being presented to these agencies. Now, these agencies swear a duty to protect the public. I don't see any protection to the public. I see the public being harvested. You know, Stalin took over Russia in 1917, and Mao Zedong did it in 1933. Now it appears that the United States government is allowing these lawsuits, which are worth $25 million each under Title 15, Section 78 FF to the United States Treasury, which will virtually pay off the $17 trillion debt of our government from the money that the bank stole from the Treasury in the last 85 years. They will have a surplus of $400 trillion, enough so that state and federal taxes will no longer be relevant in the United States for the next 85 years. The United States government runs on about $3.9 trillion every single year. They only collect about $500,000 in taxes, $500 billion in taxes. And so now you've got yourself a situation where it's not an issue of overspending. It's an issue that they're allowing the banks to steal from the Treasury, and there's a $25 million penalty that Eric Holder's department and the Tort Division and the Securities and Exchange Commission each have a $25 million claim against the bank for false and misleading statements to extort money from people and to create the foreclosure nightmare that is now befeeding over 25 million Americans, over 64 million Americans. The Securities and Exchange Commission is a victim of securitized-backed assets. In 1888, the Securities and Exchange Commission allowed securitized-backed assets. And so the banks then bundling mortgages, which are fraudulently conveyed going as far back as I have researched to the beginning of our government. And then they go ahead and they sell these to unsuspecting investors who also have a second-grade reading level and don't need being hoodwinked. So you've got a chain reaction here of fraud supporting fraud. And in 1988, when I broke the math interface on grammar, proving that all languages worldwide are a linear equation in algebra. And now we can write sentences frontwards and backwards with the same volition. That's been proven in about 400 pages on my website, and 12,000 lawsuits have been filed in the United States in quantum language. In many, many cases, virtually hundreds of cases of these 12,000, the courts have vacated their positions and set the individuals free. In other cases, hundreds of cases, the judges have resigned their commissions, lawyers have quit, realizing that they're in the business of fraud and they don't want to participate. Only leaving the people who would practice fraud and lie to the public to be in charge of harvesting the public because it's good for their pension, good for their business. We have an Internal Revenue Service. Well, what is that? That's owned by the Bar Association, not our government. It's a private club. And they collect taxes, and when you don't pay the taxes to a private club, where do you fight? You go into a foreign vessel in dry dock and you fight about taxes. Of course you're going to lose every single time. But when you syntax Title 26, you see that 100% of it is written in adverb verb. Internal, IN means no, that's part A. TER is terror, which means earth, and AL is contract, no earth contract. Revenue, RE means no, and venue means location, so you have no location service. A no earth contract, no location service. Oh, how many different ways can you say no that you don't understand, the N or the O? After all, they just swear oaths that no law or fact should be tried in court. No is an adverb which modifies the verb law and the verb fact, both being negative, or is a conjunction neutral. Shall is a pronoun in future time, connected to the adverb be, which now modifies tried to be a past tense verb. In is an adverb which modifies the verb court. Under Maritime Law, Chapter 1, you must have one jurisdiction. Well, you've got a verb court, you've got a verb tried, you've got a negative verb law and a negative verb court. Negative word law and a negative verb fact in the verb America. You can look at your money. The United States of America. You have of and a the. They've both been separated, so they both become adverbs. The adverb the modifies the adjective United. UN means no, and ITE is citizen. States has now been modified by an adjective, so that makes that into a pronoun. PRO is no, NO is no, and UN is no. The adverb ADV of now connects to the pronoun in front of it. It now modifies, which is change, and change is motion, and motion is action, and action is a dangling participle verb, America. In the parts of America, A means no, MERI is Latin for mercy, and CA is Latin for sheep. We harvest the sheep, we don't kill them. And so now we pay 87 cents on a dollar in taxes. Have a nice day. Any questions?
Yeah, David, it's Will. I am very much inspired. I do believe there is something to what this is all about. It's very complex, though, and we know that you have taken many, many years of architecting this for a reason. And some very important people do listen to what you try to create, meaning get people to understand, to knowledge. They can go to your website, right, dwmlc.com, or they can call you at 414-466-3584. Do you prefer to have them email you or call you, David, the public?
Actually, my phone number is 414-803-5448.
Okay, and actually your phone number is at the bottom of the, it's two numbers at the bottom of the web page
Right,
here.
but you call my cell phone because
Yeah.
that's where I'm at, not at night.
Any seminars coming up in the future? People can resource a lot of what you've taught on YouTube, and quite a bit. Yeah, and actually,
Yeah, seminars, there's 25 hours of AllDayLive, there's 4 hours of Terry Cassidy on Project Camelot, 6 hours on Drake Bailey on American Free Radio, there's 17 hours from Australia, there's 12 hours from Northern Indiana, there's a 1 hour special there on just mortgages, plus there's hundreds of 3 and 4 hour seminars posted on 22 different carriers, Facebook, MySpace, Google, Twitter, AOL. You just type in my name and search for it. Now, you also have an area for those that want to, where the government has posted my name on Wikipedia and has listed lawsuits that have been dismissed. Those lawsuits are not my case numbers. That is not my name. Those are not my grammar. And that is not the way I do business. If you look at my website and the way I write and the way I enter the pleadings and I do my federal postal court, you'll see that we only use the correct parsing, syntax, grammar. The government goes ahead and they change the case numbers. They change our names. They change our headings from the document contract, federal postal station venue, court venue, to the United States District Court or any court, a state court name. By cutting the top of the document off, they remove our postage stamps that we placed on our documents with our endorsement of those stamps and our flag that we place on all of our documents, and then they cut and paste, which is totally illegal, destroying evidence and then putting that into the file, changing the names, changing the grammar, changing the case numbers, changing the venue, and then dismissing it, and it's never gone to court. The reason it won't go to court is because it's a total fraud. But they'll publish it on the internet to scare people away because they know people have a second grade reading level. And as long as they have a second grade reading level, they won't read more than a couple of lines and believe anything they're told. People that understand this technology, they can't be hoodwinked by these fraudulent agencies that are trying to fictitiously convey grammar that they've been doing to the human race for 8,500 years and harvesting, creating wars for 8,500 years. Well, the world's changing. We have a mathematical solution today. There's people that are studying. People are standing up all over the planet. And Ireland got their independence because they have a correct constitution. Hawaii became an independent state. It's no longer our 50th state on the 13th. On March 8th, 2013, Hawaii became an independent country. The takeover of Hawaii, when it went into bankruptcy, on the 22nd of October 1871, plus 70-year international bankruptcy in 45 days, comes up to the bombing of Pearl Harbor. You add another 70 years to that bombing of Pearl Harbor date, you get Pearl Harbor 2011, plus 1 year maritime law of salvage under Title 46, Chapter 781. That brings me up to Pearl Harbor Day 2012. The new law becomes legal for 90 days, and that's March 5th, 2013, plus a 3-day rescission law, and that's March 8th. And on March 8th, 20,000 Hawaiians were let go from the Hawaii military bases all over Hawaii, showing that the documents that were filed And when we filed the Constitution for Hawaii on January 6, 2008, under the 3-day rescission in 2009, every country in the world that had a bank in Hawaii left Hawaii, always followed the money.
David, real quick.
So Hawaii has been independent with no offshore banking anywhere on planet Earth for 5 years.
Judge Miller, we've got about a minute left. I'm greatly honored. Again, Judge-David-Wynn-Miller, DWMLC.com. Go there, and I've got the website up in the background. Any one last 30-second statement?
Well,
Advice.
People want to get ahead and they want to protect themselves. You better study now, because when they come to take you and you can't read and write beyond a second grade reading level, you're going to have plenty of time to study in jail or in a concentration camp or a FEMA camp. But if you know your rights and you know how to be correct, the Bible says all languages say if you are correct, you will be free. But if you are not correct, you'll become a victim of your ignorance. So you have a good evening. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you. We're greatly honored, Judge Miller. Thank you very much. We'll have you on again. Have more to learn from. Before we may be booked in somewhere where you don't want to be. I think they better go to the right book instead of getting booked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much. We're greatly honored. Bye, David.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Judge-David-Wynn-Miller, DWMLC.com. You can go online, go to his website. It's quite extensive. Learn a great deal. I try to. Of course, that's why I'm trying to help us all do. And he's serious about that. Maybe there's more to what we do need to know, what this language syntax is really all about. But I'm Will P. Wilson. This is All Day Live. We are from Seattle. And thank you for watching. I hope you watch us next week and the week after. Go to our archives at seattlecommunitymedia.com or archive.org. Type in All Day Live. Type in Will P. Wilson on Google. You can't help but not find me. Thank you very much. And you can get me at willpwilson@yahoo.com. We'll see you next week. Thank you very much. Update, hold on.
Talk about doing quiet titles.
Okay, about what people can do right now with the complete collapse of our economy and things like that, right?
Well, the economy isn't collapsed. It's just a bunch of idiots that are playing stubborn with each other.